Dear students, I would like to welcome all of you to learn a new chapter from our history syllabus. I believe that you have learned your previous chapters very well. Today we are going to begin with the fourth chapter. In the previous class, we were discussing about the first phase of the international movement. And today we are going to learn about the second phase of the international movement. We are not going to learn the entire chapter in one day, but instead I have divided this chapter into different parts. And today we are going to study the first part, and in the first part we are going to deal with the partition of Bengal. In your lower classes, you might have already heard and studied about the partition of Bengal. But today we are going to learn partition of Bengal in detail. Before we go into the depth of the topic, we need to know about the background of partition of Bengal. In second and third chapter, we have studied about nationalism. And nationalism started to grow in India as a result of the First War of Independence 1857. Slowly it started to spread in India, and Bengal was one of the main centers of nationalism. And it was thickly populated, and Bengal was very close to the coastal area. Since it was very close to the coastal area, it became a center of trade. One another main feature of Bengal was its unity between Hindus and Muslims. So if we want to study the topic very well, we need to know these points about Bengal. Now we are going to study about the scheme of partition, how the partition had taken place. Actually, Lord Curzon was the person behind it. I think you might be knowing who is Lord Curzon. Lord Curzon was one of the viceroys who ruled India from 1899 to 1905. His ruling period was marked with number of controversies, and the partition of Bengal is one among them. Now let's come to the point. Bengal was very thickly populated area. Almost 4,89,500 square kilometers, that was the size of Bengal. So it was one of the largest province during the time of British administration. Almost 80 million people were living in Bengal. In 1905, July 20th, province of Bengal divided into two. So it was a very well planned action done by the British under the leadership of Lord Curzon, who was the Viceroy of India during that time. So by 1905, July 20th, the province of Bengal divided into two different provinces. Let's see how was the division took place. First one, it is being known as Bengal, and the other one, second province, is being named as Eastern Bengal and Assam. Let's see how the partition had taken place. Let's have a look at the Bengal province. It includes western districts of Bengal proper, including Bihar and Odisha. Near about 54 million people were living in this Bengal province. Mainly non-Bengali people. They were the main population of Bengal province, and Calcutta declared as the capital of Bengal province, and it was a province with the Hindu majority area. But in the case of Eastern Bengal and Assam, eastern districts of Bengal and Assam also were included in this province. Near about 31 million people were living in this province, and it was a Muslim majority area, and Dhaka has been declared as the capital of Eastern Bengal and Assam province, and it was a region with Hindu Bengali majority. Partition took place on July 20th, 1905, but it has got implemented. That means the partition was implemented on 16th October 1905. So it took almost 3 months to implement it. Now let's see what were the different reasons behind the partition of Bengal. According to the British rulers, they told the partition done just for two main reasons. First one, Bengal was too big in size, so administration was so difficult. So these were the two different excuses said by the British officials with regard to the partition of Bengal. But the people who had divided, or the people who made the framework of the division or the partition, were having some hidden motives. Let's see what were the hidden motives of the British administration or British officials behind the partition of Bengal. First one, Bengal was the center of Indian nationalism. We have already seen after the first war of independence 1857, nationalism started to grow in different parts of the country, and Bengal was one of the main centers of the Indian nationalism. And second reason, to curb the Bengali influence by making them into minority. British administration believed that if the Bengali influence can be reduced by making them into minority, it can help the British to make a check to the growth of Indian nationalism. So it was the second aim of the British behind the partition of Bengal. Now the third point says that to foster division based on the basis of religion. So we have already seen in the background, the points which I have mentioned under the title background, there I have already mentioned Bengal was very popular for its unity between Hindus and Muslims. So British administrative officials thought if once the Bengal is being divided into two, and if the Bengalis are becoming the minority in the society, it can make it, or it can be used to divide the people on the basis of religion. So it was the third point from the side of, or it was the third hidden agenda behind the partition of Bengal from the side of the British. And the best example is East Bengal. The majority peoples were Muslims, West Bengal Hindus, and East Bengal means which includes Assam. So East Bengal and Assam, the majority people in the East Bengal and Assam were Muslims, but on the other side the Hindus were the majorities at the West Bengal side. That means which includes Bengal proper and Bihar. Now we are moving to the next topic, that is Anti-Partition Movement. When the British administration implemented partition on October 16, 1905, it resulted a strike against the British administration. The movement against the partition, and it is being known as Anti-Partition Movement. This Anti-Partition Movement was initiated on August 7, 1905. People and political leaders started to strike against the British together. Indian National Congress had given an important role, or Indian National Congress had taken a very important role in this anti-partition movement, including nationalists. All these people together started to fight against the British, but they have not taken any kinds of weapons or arms to fight against the British, but they have started to strike against the British in different peaceful manners. They have followed different peaceful measures to strike against the British. And this movement have brought together all sections of the society. All different parts of the society started to strike against, like zamindars, merchants, lawyers, students, women, and all the different sections of the society joined together and started to fight against the British. So it was one of the main features of the people's reaction towards partition of Bengal. Protest meetings were held in different parts by eminent leaders like Surendranath Banerjee, B.C. Pal, and so on. Another important feature of this movement was it brought early nationalist and assertive nationalist under one leadership. So it was one of the main impact of the anti-partition movement, or a movement against the partition of Bengal. So it brought early nationalist peoples or leaders and assertive nationalist leaders under one particular leadership. Demonstrations were held in different parts of the country, as well as especially in Bengal itself. There were demonstrations in different towns and cities. In the previous class, we have already learned how the press played an important role in the spread of nationalism. See here, the best example is given here. During the time of anti-partition movement, use of newspaper or the newspapers were being used to spread the ideology of nationalism. So these were some of the important points of the anti-partition movement, by which people were fighting against the British administration because of due to the partition of Bengal. Now, reaction of the people. We are going to see what were the different reactions of the people towards the partition of Bengal. People's reactions were in a very different way. They have declared October 16. I think you might be remembering the importance of this day, because on October 16 the government implemented the partition. So the people declared October 16 as National Mourning Day, and they have declared it as the day of fasting, and they declared a hartal in Kolkata, and they walked in the street on barefoot. So these were some of the activities done by the people to show their reaction towards the British administration. Again, they haven't stopped there. Cries for Bande Mataram. It was the theme song of national movement. And again, Rabindranath Tagore, the Nobel Prize winner from our country, the legend of our Indian literature, has composed Amar Sonar Bangala, that means My Golden Bengal, a song for the people who were protesting against the British. And finally, again, another remarkable act done by the people of Bengal. Raksha Bandhan was celebrated in a very different way. Hindus and Muslims tied mangis on each other's hand as a symbol of unbreakable unity of Bengal. Again, in the afternoon, one of the veteran leader, Ananda Mohan Bose, laid the foundation of a federation hall to make as a symbol of indestructible unity of Bengal. So these were the different acts done by the people to show their reaction towards the partition of Bengal. So dear students, today we are going to wind up this particular class today, and we will be continuing this same chapter in the next class. Until then, thank you.